Hello and welcome to Cryptic Corner, where we take a look at the unexplained and mysterious out there in the world and try to see if we can't just crack that wide open. This is recorded live from the Hive on Saturday morning, so I do have a live audience with us. So I will be interacting with them as well, but thank you so much for joining us tonight. The show doesn't always feature a cryptid, but today it does. Or should it be considered a cryptid even, because it's just an animal, but an animal that was thought to be extinct. Are we revisiting the thylacine? No, we're not going to revisit the Tasmanian wolf today. No, we're not going to revisit any of those previously mentioned Lazarus taxon or alleged Lazarus taxon. No living dinosaurs or plesiosaurs here today. But I do want to pose a question to my audience. And please bear with me because I have just shuffled stuff around. It's supposed to be more useful, but would you like to see it? A mammoth alive? Yes, I would. Would you guys like to see a mammoth, a living, breathing, woolly mammoth alive and walking around? Do you want to see that? Is that an image that appeals to you? Because here we go. I don't know about this music, so I'm going to mute it. And if we need music, I can bump my cryptic music up a little bit. There we go. German photographer during World War II. And then we have this. Would you like to see it again? Heck yeah, I would. That was compelling. That was definitely a mammoth. See again, slower. Yeah, slow that down. I need to make sense about what I am seeing here. Because that looks so compelling. Am I wrong? Am I confused? Okay, so that's that one. But hey, that's not all. Here's another one. Look at the real footage that a Russian engineer took. Let's see. Is that a mammoth? Crossing a river? What do you guys think? Now look at it again carefully and give me your opinion. What are we thinking, Hive? Shh, Bjorn, don't give away the spoilers. Why you gotta be spoiling? You're supposed to be like, I don't know. Could be a woolly mammoth. That's what you're supposed to say. Alright, so there was that. Ew, Lauren Boebert, get your face off my screen. So first, let's look at this. Stop buffering. I don't know what it's doing. I'm gonna refresh it though, and then mute it. So let's look at this guy again. Ooh, he's pretty compelling. I'm compelled by this one. I am compelled to think that this mammoth. Why do you keep buffering for? See, that's why I guess I should just download the videos so that they don't buffer when I'm trying to go through them. Look at that. Right there. Look at that. That's so freaking... That's definitely a mammoth, right? There's no doubt about it. In my mind, I see people in the live chat saying, that is a elephant. That's an elephant. That's an elephant. That's an elephant. You are freaking wrong. This is a mammoth. There are some things about it that you can tell that you know it's not an elephant. First, the curvature of the tusk. They curve in the inward curving of the tusk. Because mammoths use their tusk a little bit differently than African elephants. African elephants use their tusk for digging in dirt and for stripping bark, but mammoths use their tusk for clearing large amounts of snow. So their tusk were big sweeping, scooping shovels to push snow away. So this is definitely a mammoth. Also the dome. Let me blow this up for you. The dome on the head. Elephants do not have this dome. See how it has this cranium here, drops down, and then the front part of the face is right here. Elephants do not have that. This is definitely a mammoth. I mean, it's clearly snowing where it's at too. The thing about this though is that if we trying to find my place here. If we look into it, this is a scene from Walking with Prehistoric Beast, my favorite documentary growing up as a child. This is the mammoth model, which I still think holds up to this day. This mammoth model does. What they did, this is just a freeze frame of it. What they did was they took this portion here, and they cropped it out, and they mirrored it. See, then they mirrored it, gave a little bit of a stretch, and put it in black and white. Voila! It is a mammoth! The second one, this classic right here. Bjorn hit the nail on the head. It's definitely a bear, a large brown bear, carrying a fish, probably a salmon, but it doesn't have to be a salmon, but probably a salmon, across the river. Yeah, so... Right, so that was that. That was legit. This is legit. This is a real video of a mammoth. This is a CGI mammoth that's well done. All right, that was just a little first part of Cryptic Corner today. We are going to be talking about this mainly, though. The mammoth's still alive. So when like Thomas Jefferson sent Lewis and Clark on their expedition across the frontier, he told them to look out for mammoths, because they were sure that mammoths were still alive for a long time. Because there was, until fairly recently, the notion that a species could go completely extinct was absurd. That mammoths had to live somewhere, because they found their bones in the tundra, and in the melting glaciers and things like that. So they knew that these animals existed by that time. They knew that these large proboscideans, by the late 1700s, they knew that these animals had lived before. and they hadn't lived very long ago because their remains were not fossilized like the giant saurians that they were finding. They were just laying there, so they knew that the mammoths existed. They assumed that they had been driven to extinction in Europe, Western Asia, where they had once lived. The idea of them being in Russia is something that was held onto for a long, long time. They did live in Russia for a long time. Now there was a expedition to this island. Now that's important. That's why I said they lived in Russia for a long time, because mammoths lived on Wrangel Island for a long, long time. They lived in this. There was an island in the no, it's not in the Aleutian Chains. It's north of the Aleutian Chains, actually. It's called St. Paul, and it's in the middle of the Bering Sea. And they found mammoth remains there from like just 3,000 some years ago, too. 3,700 and some years ago. So mammoths lived there fairly recently, right? But they've started finding mammoth remains on mainland Asia in the north of the taiga, and in the taiga that shows mammoths that were like less like 6,000 years old and things like that. So we're shuffling this around. The idea of living mammoths is not that far-fetched. Now this is from the St. Louis Dispatch, not recently though, but from September 20th of 1903, and this is from an expedition from a guy named Dr. J.P. Frizzell. He's positive that the trails he struck, and so there's a whole newspaper report here, all in microfilch or whatever, that I could sit here and I could actually go through and read the whole thing to you guys. Every word for word I could read about what they thought about this back then. And I would exhaust myself doing so. If I was going to do something like this, I would pre-record it. But luckily, this king here, Gentleman's Quarry, right? Gentleman's Quarry, this king of the internet, has done it for me in a 9-minute reading. So I want the Hive to pop over and get this guy. Before I start watching this, I want him to have 15 subscribers. So I need somebody to go. I need some of you guys to go and subscribe to Microfeature. Yeah. I don't know if I said that right or not. Yeah, and consider being a channel member. Sandy, show off some of the other ones too. Mothman's my favorite. Mothman's the one we unlocked. So we unlocked Mothman. And then, yeah, I need to just get 3 more subscribers for him. 3 more. Come on, guys. He's reading old newspaper stuff and things. He's only got 11 subscribers, and if you hear, I mean, he's not perfect, but when you hear this, it takes a lot of work. Race riots in Washington, riots in the Capitol. He's got some good content here. Let's show some love. I don't know, just a small channel. Yeah, look at those gorgeous emojis you get for joining the Hive. A mantis emoji. I've been waiting my whole life for that. All right, so come on. Give our friend here. There we are. There's the 15. Thank you, Gentleman's Quarry. All right, so. All right, let's give this a listen. Again, this is just going to be a reading. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to pull up the newspaper report. So this is what we're listening to. Now, this is Unimac Island, right? Not exactly a massive piece of land. So, forget perspective on the island. These are man-made roads down here, so that's the size of it. So, if you consider that a man-made road is what? Well, there's an airport here too. But yeah, if you look at those roads, the docks and stuff like that, it gives you kind of a perspective of how small this island really is. Not a big land mass. So, if there were mammoths living on this island, if there were still mammoths living on this island, I think we would know by now, especially because, yeah, if you're sharing your land mass and you got this many people here, that there's, you know, a Four Winds bed and breakfast. If it's that populated on this tiny landmass, then yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that there's no more mammoths there. Now, were there mammoths when this guy was adventuring there? Let's continue on. Yeah, the monster which made the tracks is being... No video sound? Is it not coming through? Ah, dang it. What's going on? Why you gotta be doing me like this? I swear. That's not even a thing. It's not even a real thing. You picked a thing that's not a thing.
Dr. J.P. Frizzell is positive that the trail he struck in the frozen north could not have been made by anything except the gigantic beast which has been supposed to be extinct. The mammoth still lives on the island of Unimac, a wild, little-known, cold corner of the world off the west coast of Alaska. This startling assurance comes from Dr. J.P. Frizzell, a United States government scientist who has just reached San Francisco. Dr. Frizzell tells earnestly and carefully a remarkable story. He says he was exploring the island, which had been wholly unknown except for its active volcanoes. In the course of his explorations, he went into the interior
One,
and
two,
was one
three
day
volcanoes.
amazed to
Four
strike the trail
volcanoes?
of a creature of such astounding weight and bulk that he was immediately compelled to regard the tracks as being those of a mammoth. Dr. Frizzell was quick to appreciate the importance of his discovery. In the wilds of an Arctic stand, he had found a living representative of an animate species which has been long regarded with wonder, but considered wholly extinct. He examined the tracks closely and assured himself, but none that a member of the elephant family could have made them. They were unlike the tracks of a bear. They were too large for the tracks of a modern elephant, which is, moreover, never found north of the tropics. They seemed to be fresh, and the weight of the creature had been such that the imprints...
Yeah, I'll definitely edit that out. I don't know what the deal is with that. I've had the sound locked in on this system for so long, and I go in there and mess with it, touch one thing, and it all falls over like a series of dominoes. So I appreciate your patience and everybody sticking in here with me. Yeah. No sound for the second video. Yeah. Well, I appreciate everybody giving this guy some love anyway, because, yeah, this is... Let's continue on.
Of his feet were left 4 inches deep in the firm ground. The doctor measured them, counted the toes, observed the structure of the foot, and followed the trail for many days, hoping to catch sight of the monster which made the tracks. He was assisted in his search by...
Well, saying counted the toes is kind of a peculiar thing to say about elephantine tracks. Not to say you can't detect the toes, but generally, and especially in something like in a substance like snow, an elephant track is going to just be kind of a rounded, slightly oblong oval. Well, I mean, they got them depicted right here. So counting the toes is a peculiar kind of way to describe observing an elephant footprint, an elephant trackway.
By natives from the neighboring islands and the mainland, but not even the hardiness of these sufficed to discover the creature in the wilderness of rugged Unimak. Dr. Frizzell was well aware that the scientific world would laugh when he would come home saying that he had seen the fresh tracks of a mammoth, and was convinced that this greatest of all elephant creatures was not extinct as supposed, but alive on the island of Unimak. But he nevertheless resolved to tell his story, and the positiveness of his statements, his care to make every possible observation, even to measurements and counting the toes, together with the straightforward manner in which his story is told, certainly entitles him to a respectful hearing and a consideration of the possibility that what he says may be true. He says, quote, "I don't wish to make myself ridiculous to the scientific world by stating as a fact that at least one living specimen of the mammoth family is still roaming at large on the American side of the Arctic regions, but I saw with my own eyes comparatively fresh tracks that apparently..."
So this is, these are like direct quotes right here. So this is what he's saying. Just so you know,
could not have been made by any other kind of animal but a mammoth. I ran across the animal's tracks in the island of Unimak, which is 125 miles long and 26 miles in width. It is about 400 miles from the mainland, and animals can walk back and forth from land. The tracks could be distinctly seen in the ice and snow, and I followed them for quite a distance. They sank 4 inches into the hard frozen ground. They were 4 feet apart, showing that distance to be the stride of the animal. The dimensions of the tracks were 19 by 20 inches. In each were the distinct impressions of 18 toes.
Okay.
I ran across the...
And I do want to say that that is the proportions you'd expect for like a adult elephant. The 18 by 20 inches is, or 19 by 20 inches is just about right, just about perfect for an elephant footprint. Now, again, the toes, and I think, I want to say that how many toes did he say?
Of the tracks were 19 by 20 inches. In each were the distinct impressions of 18 toes. I ran across these...
18 toes. So, each track each track didn't have 18 toes. What are you talking about? Maybe... Well, how's that even... How many toes would be on each foot to have 18 toes? You can have 4.5 toes on each foot. Did some of the feet have 4 toes, and some of the feet have 5 toes? Hippotoes. Hiptoes. Hippotoes? Is that Pixie and Maynard? And hey, everybody. Hey, I have people on my side chat. When did that happen? I thought it was just me and Sandy hanging out. Where'd all the rest of you guys come from? Now I know that we have Rick here and all kinds of cool people, but folks are rolling in now to find out how many toes a mammoth has. How many toes does an elephant have? I didn't even look that up. I don't even know that answer to that. How many toes do elephants have? Each elephant foot has 5 toes. But not every toe has a toenail. Okay. Okay, the African forest elephant and Asian elephant both have 5 toenails on the front foot and 4 on the back feet. Their feet are flat because of a large pad of gristle under the heel. Yeah, I knew about that, the shock pad. But so there are 5 toes with nails on the front, 5 toes, 4 with nails on the back. That's some evolution right there.
Animal tracks in the country between Mount Hamgromny and Mount Sheshal. The latter
I didn't think I was going to find a way that made sense for him to say 18 toes total, but I did, because there are pseudo toes that don't make up a whole toe. So it actually made sense. I thought that, okay, this news report has just gone to the dogs because of that, but he like justified it with weird logic. Interesting. Not the narrator. Again, the guy reading this is just the guy reading this. So this is no hate to him. This is we're talking about the report from Dr. J.P. Frizzell. Keep going to that one. All right. Oh, I have to play it.
latter being illegible, feet and height. It is now an active volcano. Unimac fairly teems with animal life, and particularly with much large game. It is a hunter's paradise for caribou, bear, and the red fox. The cinnamon variety of bear there is a large animal, but an animal of that kind could not have made the tracks. End quote. What has Dr. Frizzell seen?
I think that's quite a understatement to say that the bears in the Aleutians are large animals. They are absolutely massive, the largest bears in the world. Some standing on their hind legs approach 13 feet tall, so that's looking into a second-story window. That is a massive bear. Obviously polar bears get taller, but yeah, these are huge animals. So I don't know that this footprints would necessarily match with a bear. I don't know what else would be out here on the Aleutians though.
The island of Unimac is one of the Fox group between the Aleutian Islands and the Alaskan Peninsula. It is wholly between the 15th and 16th parallels of latitude, or about as far north as Hudson Bay. It is one of a group of islands noted for their abundance of animal life, their active volcanoes, forbidding shores, and scant welcome to man. The winters are intensely cold, and the vegetation grows rank when the sun is warm. There are many who will instantly avow that the man does not know what he is talking about. But that is not a tenable view, for Dr. Frizzell talks like a man who knows exactly what he is talking about. He did not go to the island of Unimac looking for a live mammoth. He expected that least of all things to be found. But when he stumbled upon the tracks of a creature whose foot was 19 by 20 inches, he instantly concluded he was on the trail of a mammoth, for he was well posted enough to know that no other creature, existing or extinct, could make a track so large. It will be suggested that the doctor really saw the tracks of a bear, and that the dimension of these
the dimension of the tracks were from melt. Yeah, that would be probably my assessment of what it could have been. What could have been the cause of it? That would have been what I would have gone with too. Yeah, it's important to note this is also a stellar sea lion protected area. These little island chain down here. When I think of the Fox Islands, though, I think of this group right here. I think of I guess I don't. But I suppose it would be part, because here's the thing, okay? So this is the Aleutian Peninsula, right? And it's coming down here. It comes all the way down here. Now Unimac is all but part of that peninsula because of this narrow pass right here. Look, there's a boat right there. So I don't know. I guess I just never considered it part of the Fox Islands because it's like butt up against, I mean, literally, because they share a sandbar here. Butt up right against the main peninsula, and then the Fox Islands I think of as these ones from, what's this one? Unimac Island to Amukta Island. Yeah, those are the ones that I think of as the Fox Islands. I know probably most of you all probably don't think about the Fox Islands at all, but I'm weird. I'm like into this sort of stuff. But yeah, so this is the island group that we're talking about, and during a large portion of the year, this is actually there's some ice and stuff that, yeah, a large animal like a bear or mammoth even could potentially traverse a lot of this distance, at least out through here, from mainland, and from that side, and then probably about out to here in days gone by. You can't. It never freezes like that anymore because, well, climate change.
Tracks have grown in his mind since he saw them. But the doctor insists that he did not trust this to his memory, but measured the tracks, finding them to be so many inches across one way and so many another, which figures he submits as a positive statement concerning the size of the tracks. Moreover, he expresses himself as familiar with the big cinnamon bear, the largest member of the bear family on the island, and says the big tracks could not have been made by a cinnamon bear. They were not bear tracks.
They keep saying cinnamon bear. Cinnamon bear makes it sound cute. These are like huge. They're close. They're all in the same bloodline as the Kodiak. The Kodiak is from a specific region or specific island set, which is spoilers on what we're covering. What idiot we're covering today on Creation Watch. Spoilers. Where's my map at? Okay, Kodiak. Let me see. Kodiak Island. Let's go. Take me there. Kodiak Island, Alaska. Oh, yeah, right there. I guess it just didn't want to pull up the... So, yeah. So, not far. So this is the same genetic group. Unimex right here. Kodiak's Island's right there. I mean, this is a huge peninsula of it. In days gone by, again, this is all going to be the same family, and these ones are these bears are very, very good at seafaring, and they don't worry too much about just jumping into the water and swimming. So, yeah, these are the biggest bears in the world. All right.
He knows a bear track when he sees one. Even the fair-minded objector is left to the conclusion that Dr. Frizzell really did.
What island has gummy bears? Teddy Graham. Yeah, they have Teddy Grahams on them. There's ones they call mocha colored too. So, and you could make we should just reclassify all the bears by flavored colors. We'll call black bears dark chocolate, or we can call them mocha bears. Mocha bears actually sounds freaking amazing. Let's call black bears mocha bears from now on. Okay.
Did find upon this faraway northern island the tracks of some remarkable creature. Neither he nor any of the native people who had gone to the island with him had ever seen tracks like them. The doctor's familiarity with the great mammoth prompted him to believe that there were mammoth tracks. Admitting then that the doctor knows what he is talking about and also knows what he has seen, the incredulous will ask if it is not possible that the tracks are old, very old, having been there ever since that remote age in which the last of the mammoths laid down in death in these northern ice fields, where the carcasses of the great creatures are found in such numbers, many of them perfectly preserved in the ice. This, indeed, a fair question that may well be considered. The scientist has taught that the mammoth almost anteceded man.
If I had to flavor polar bears, I'd make them peppermint, Spooky. Peppermint polar bears. Or vanilla, maybe. Vanilla polar bears. Vanilla is the finest of the flavors. Ask the bare naked ladies. And you could do that's what I do at a panda. A panda's got to be cookies and cream, right? Panda's definitely cookies and cream. A Andean bear would be it would be dark chocolate caramel. A sloth bear would be milk chocolate cinnamon. And yeah, the American black bear would be dark chocolate. The Asian black bear would be so the American black bear can be mocha, and the Asian black bear, because it's got the V on its chest, the lighter colored, in the cream color. So we're gonna take that into consideration, and we're gonna call that. These are like coffee flavors, so let's call it a We'll call it dark chocolate. Because caramel's for the spectacled bear, because you know the spectacles look like the glazing, like when they drizzle the chocolate on your coffee or the caramel on your coffee. What are they drizzling on it for the Asian black bear though? So that's gonna be like, yeah, we'll call it like dark chocolate and cream. Yeah, and then brown bears are obviously chocolate, with cinnamon being one of the flavors. Does that cover everybody? Does that cover all our bears? Don't want to leave any of them out. So we're flavoring the bears. Yeah, this is the kind of content that you need to come to the Hive for. We will apply flavors to your animals. So just to recap before we get back into the mammoths, because you know when you're talking about mammoths, you have to define what flavor the different bears are before you can move forward on deciding if the mammoths are real. Yeah, so the polar bear are going to be white chocolate peppermint for spooky. The black bear are going to be just mocha. The American black bear is going to be mocha for brie. I love mocha. Mocha's my favorite. The panda's going to be cookies and cream. The Asian black bear is going to be, yeah, cookies and cream too. But anyway, or not cookies and cream, but chocolate and yeah. Anyway, I'm getting distracted by being silly. Let's get going, because yeah.
And the big creature did, in fact, appear upon Earth ahead of man, but it has been pretty well established that the first men found the mammoth alive, from which scientific assurance we have
the story of Ab.
Tale of the Mammoth Chase in The Story of Ab, A.B. It has never been seriously suggested that the mammoth remained for long a contemporary with men. He became extinct thousands of years ago. If this long-accepted theory be true, the tracks Dr. Frizzell has seen have been there in the hard ground of Unimak Island for a period of time older than the Christian era. This is impossible.
The Christian era.
The erosion of the elements, the thaw...
Isn't that crazy? Even like just in the early 1900s, you know, all the way up into the 20th century, that we had people saying the Christian era, or they still said the year of our Lord. Even when I was in school, there was books that still said the year of our Lord. Do we have a peanut butter cup that could... Yeah, oh my gosh, that's perfect, Pixie. That's why I keep Pixie here. Because Pixie's brilliant.
Thawing and freezing of seasons and every other meteorological agency would have contributed to their destruction. They would not have lasted from one season to another. We are now brought to the point where, if we are to place any reliance in Dr. Frizzell's story of what he saw, we must begin to subscribe to his theory that he was on the trail of a mammoth.
Hey Sandy, what's that yellow thing next to your name on the screen? That looks pretty cool. I wish I could get one of those. Can you tell everybody how you got that?
Which lives on the island of Unimak. Professor Krauss is out of the interior of Madagascar attempting to capture for the Berlin Zoological Garden a living specimen of the Epiornis, the great rock of the Arabian Nights tale of Sinbad the Sailor. The okapi has been found in the interior of Africa.
It's funny they keep saying okapi, because it's an okapi. An okapi with an I, not an okapi. Is this in the article? Oh yeah, okapi right here. Oh, it's just a translating error because of the newsprint. I'm not going to bust his butt on that too bad, but it's okapi.
Both of these creatures have been long considered extinct, but the okapi turns up in the flesh, and the rock rolls into a Madagascar river a brand new egg to serve as a messenger to science.
That egg that they're talking about elephant bird eggs. Now the rock was the giant bird that terrorized Sinbad. The giant flying bird is important to keep in mind. Yeah, Sun Bear, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, absolutely. I love my live chat so much. You guys are so funny. I think we lost some people who hate on the flavor in the animals, but that's okay. If you don't want to designate flavors to bears, this probably isn't the live chat for you anyway. That's the kind of stuff that we do here. But the rock, so that's the thing about the elephant bird. The elephant bird, they were made of the elephant birds, and the idea that early sailors might have seen elephant birds and thought that they were the chicks of this giant flying bird, because elephant birds were ratites, and ratites, especially in tropical climates, tend to have a lot of neoteny that makes them bald. So the speculations that elephant birds didn't have feathers on their head, like an ostrich doesn't have feathers on its head, at least at the time that this article was written. But they thought that they were the chicks of some giant flying bird. They had to be, right? And elephant birds were huge. They were like 500 pounds. They stood like 11 feet tall. They were massive too. The moa was a little bit taller than the elephant bird. The elephant bird was almost twice as heavy, though. They were huge, and they lived in Madagascar up until like the 1500s or 1300s. I don't know. It was around the time that Europeans started showing up. So this guy's saying, oh, that proves that the rock was real, but the rock really wasn't anything like, and I say rock like R-O-C, not rock like Dwayne The Rock Johnson or Kid Rock.
The Rock of Sinbad still lives and thrives. Listeners note, I'll have more on the rock later in a separate story. Back to the article. It is not unlikely that Dr. Frizzell may find some learned men coming to his support when the storm of incredulity has passed. There's no
incredulity
reason why all the mammoths should be dead. They were creatures of great strength and could not have been the prey of creatures greater than they. They did not belong to that uncanny and impractical creation which gave the world the great dinosaurs. They were as fit to survive as the elephants. The elephants were their contemporaries, and pastured side by side with them upon both the hemispheres. Yet the elephant still lives and thrives. The agency that destroyed the mammoths did not destroy the elephant. Why then should the scientific world refuse to look for a living mammoth in some favored corner of the earth? And what likelier place than Unimak Island? The far north was the mammoth's chief range. It was there the great pachyderm is found in the greatest numbers, his skeleton in the ravine, or his carcass preserved in ice. Not an explorer in the Arctic country, but has returned to tell of the wonderfully preserved mammoths, with their long hair and the flesh still clinging to the bones. Isn't it possible science could be mistaken in its assumption that the mammoths are all dead? Is a live mammoth on Unimak Island any more of an improbability than a living rock bird on Madagascar or a live okapi in Africa? Dr. Frizzell's theory becomes the most tenable when it is understood that Unimak Island or some island or mainland in that part of the world would be the first field explored by any scientist who did believe the mammoth still living and was determined to find one.
I would agree. I would tend to agree that I would look around like Russian and Alaskan and Canadian islands if I was looking for living mammoths. I do agree. But I don't think there are any, but that's where I would look.
This would have been true had Dr. Frizzell never visited the island, for the last signs of the mammoth are in that part of the world. There, science has said for years, he was last alive. Why not still alive? Dr. Frizzell expresses his determination to return to Unimak and find his mammoth, just to prove to the world that he is not the author of a hoax. It's perhaps easier to believe there is a live mammoth up there than it is to believe the doctor will catch it. It's September 12th, 1903.
The join link to join the Hive is not pop. I thought it popped up underneath my screen. Hold on, I'll get it to it in just a second here. Let me close out CrypticCorner real quick. So, and then we'll talk about that before we move on to Creation Watch. I'll talk about the join link and see if we can't make that happen. So, yeah, that was every time. That was CrypticCorner. Thank you so much for sticking around with me and learning about the alleged mammoths of Alaska and Russian islands into the modern time. There's actually more of it, but we're out of time for CrypticCorner, so we might have to do a part 2 on this, which I'm excited to do because this was a fun one. I'm really glad that the gentleman Corey read that, because I was looking at that news report and I'm like, am I going to read this whole thing, or Yeah. Or am I going to have to look for something else to cover the topic? I really wanted this to be this news report to be the thing. I wanted that to be the topic of the day. So, because I like looking at the way that. Oh, almost forgot. Before I move on, I had this one too. This one is not quite as compelling, but you guys tell me what you think. I thought this was hilarious.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at this footage. Woolly mammoth spotted. Now this is all completely according to the source. We're just bringing you this footage. It is brand new footage. We just received it February 6, 2022. And the source wishes to stay anonymous. And he's claiming in his email that this thing has come out of hibernation. This is almost unbelievable. And once again, we have to say full disclaimer, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot prove any of this. Well, except for the footage, we're just bringing it to you. And
it's most realistic when it slides across the sand instead of walks.
Letting you know what the source is claiming over here.
Sliding along.
So we will leave that part up to you. But look at this footage over here. This thing. And then where is it walking to? It looks like it's walking to a bunch of rocks. And then the footage just cuts out. Look at it slide. If in fact this footage is authentic, then this would be incredible. Look at that point of angle that it's being shot at. I don't even know where the source is standing at. He's flying some kind of drone, or he's standing on these rocks over here. That definitely looks like a woolly mammoth. Look at the tusks on that thing. It's hard to judge how big this animal is over here. It's just walking on the beach, it looks like. Absolutely incredible, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we cannot prove that this footage is 100% authentic. We're just going to have to let you make up your own mind. The data on this footage is kind of scarce, but we did receive it February 6, 2022. There you have it. All right, ladies.
Oh, God, that was good. Oh, that was a good, cathartic moment. I love the way that it just slid right along, and just like the data is scarce on this, but if that's real, I mean that's a mammoth. That's definitely a mammoth. Look at the tusk. I don't know where it's walking to, but it's a mammoth. Oh my God, that made my day, made my morning. Ooh. You didn't even bother with someplace with snow. Nope, the mammoth's on vacation, Pixie. It's on vacation. You think mammoths just like stick around in the Arctic for vacation? They go tropical. But they get hot with all their big coats of hair. They just take them off, and then they're elephants. That's what elephants actually are. They're just mammoths that went on vacation and never came back. They just took their coats off and left them, and that's what you're actually finding in the tundra, is the coats that these elephants shed as they move south. I'm a total idiot. That was a weird thing to say. Anyway, thank you for joining us for Cryptic Corner. Please tune in tomorrow morning at 9:30.